Hi everybody, it is Julie and welcome back to Pages and Pens. Today I have a really fun video for you, at least I think it's really fun. I was watching some BookTube videos today and I came across a book tag that I thought would actually be really fun to do, and I haven't done any yet. Again, I'm a new channel, so that's not too surprising, but I decided to give it a go. It is called the Mid-Year Book Freakout Tag, which is basically you just raving about the books that you've read so far. It's a little bit past mid-year because it's the end of September now, but I did want to film this anyway. AbigailHaleigh filmed it and put it up today, so it's apparently not too late to join in. And I will have the creator of the tags as well as Abby's video linked in the description box below, as well as the questions if you want to join. So of course you're all tagged if you want to. There are 14 questions in total. I have most of the books around me. I went through my Goodreads to figure out what I wanted to do for this. And again, you can only pull from 2016, so these might not be my picks for overall, but just for the year to date of what I've read. And some of the books I have lent out to people. I actually had the physical copies of all these books. They weren't even on e-reader, so I will have to figure out a way to insert a picture in this region if I can. If not, maybe I'll just do a still shot, or maybe you'll just have to Google it. I don't know what I'm going to do in editing. So let's start with the mid-year book freakout tag. So the first question is the best book that I read in 2016. And I feel like this is an unfair question because it's the book that I finished most recently, but I really did love it. So I'm going to pick it anyway. And that is Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. I really loved this book, and if I could have picked it for multiple categories in this, I probably would have. This is the first book by Leigh Bardugo that I have read, and I absolutely loved it. I adored her writing style. I loved the character, the world building, the action in this. It's not a typical book that I thought I would enjoy. It's a heist book. It's kind of got mystery and intrigue, but a little bit of romance, and there's like a criminal underground, element to the book. It's not really my thing, but there's enough fantasy and high fantasy in this that it really did excite me. I adored this book. I cannot wait for the next one. I am looking forward to reading more by her and to seeing what Crooked Kingdom, the follow-up to this book, has in store for us, because this world and these characters are pretty amazing. I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. I loved it. I highly recommend you reading it if you haven't already. The second question of the tag is the best sequel. Now, there were a couple different books that I was thinking about for this one of them being Glass Sword, which is the second book of the Red Queen series. However, I did give it to a different series. I gave it to Maggie Stiefvater's. This is The Dream Thieves. This is the second book in the Raven Cycle series and my favorite book of the 4-book series in whole. I loved this book. I love the character building that took place in this. I loved getting to know Ronan better. If you're interested in a full review on this entire series, I will have that linked down below, as well as in one of these cards if I remember to do that in editing. But I really did enjoy the character development, the plot development, and the backstories that we got in this book, and for that reason it is my favorite sequel of the year to date, as well as my favorite book of this series. The third one is a new release that I have not read yet, but I want to read. And for this, I have kind of 2 books, but kind of 1. Technically, the new release is A Court of Mist and Fury. This is by Sarah J. Maas. This is the second book to the Court of Thorns and Roses. Oh, I hit myself in the neck. So this was the first book. This is the second. This one did come out this year, and I am very excited to read these 2 books. I believe another one is coming out next year, and I have enough books to go through that I may not start these until closer to when the third one comes out, just so I don't have to wait too long. But these sound phenomenal. I believe they're a loosely based retelling of Beauty and the Beast, but with Fae. Even if it's not Beauty and the Beast, which is one of my favorite Disney movies, it's still Fae related, and I adore that. So I've heard nothing but great things about this book in particular. In fact, I've heard a lot of people say that this one was their favorite, even over the first book of the series. So I cannot wait to get into this, and this would be my technical new release that I have not read yet that I would like to read. Number 4 is the most anticipated release for the second half of the year, and technically, since it is the second half of the year already, it's a book that's releasing tomorrow. Crooked Kingdom, which is the follow-up to Six of Crows, comes out, and I will be ordering it on Barnes & Nobles, getting my discount, free shipping, and having that come straight to me, where I intend to devour it completely. The book will be be out by the time that I put this video up. However, as I'm filming it, it is not yet. So technically that is my most anticipated release of the second half of the year. Cannot wait to read more by Leigh Bardugo. Number 5 is the most disappointing book of the year that I've read. The Love That Split the World by Emily Henry. There's a lot of debate on BookTube especially and on Goodreads about this book. It does have folklore from American Indian heritage, but it's told by a non-American Indian and kind of apparently butchered. In general, even despite that, I just didn't care for this book. It is one that I have lent out to somebody because I wanted to get their opinion on it. I haven't gotten it back yet. There is like a time split, time travel-y, time jumpy kind of elements in the book. I typically do not enjoy that kind of writing. For that reason, I didn't like it. The characters didn't really endear me to them, and there was enough debate about the appropriateness of writing from a different ethnicity and that not being accurately represented that was kind of controversial, that made me just not enjoy this book. And I had hopes for it at first, and it just really fell flat for me. So that was my most disappointing read of the year so far. For the most surprising read of the year to date is another OwlCrate book, and again, this is something that I would not have picked up on my own. The Serpent King by Jeff Zentner. Now, The Serpent King I actually lent to the 14-year-old boy that I nanny for because I thought he would enjoy it, and he did, but I just haven't gotten it back yet. It's a YA novel told from a male point of view. I don't read a lot of male point of view books, and it also had religious overtones with a church that has, you know, revere serpents and they get bit by poisonous snakes. There's drama when the boy's father gets sent off to jail. It's a small town, country town kind of a book, and I found myself moved by it. I found myself relating to it. I cried. I really did enjoy that book as a whole, and it's not one that I would have picked up on my own, so I'm glad that I got it in an OwlCrate box, and by far it was one of the most surprising reads because I really anticipated myself not liking it, and it ended up being one of the better books from OwlCrate so far. Number 7 is your favorite new author. Now, I have read a majority of new authors this year, and I've been really excited about that and branching out into new authors, but I have to say that to date, my favorite new author is Leigh Bardugo. So I know I've only read one of her books. I'm very much looking forward to reading more of them. I have a feeling that Sarah J. Maas is going to quickly become one of my favorites as well, but I have not read any of her books yet. So I am anticipating absolutely falling in love with her. I just haven't read any yet. So for right now, I'm giving it to Leigh Bardugo. I'm really impressed by her book and I cannot wait to read more. Number 8 is my new fictional crush. I picked Maxon, Prince Maxon from the Selection series. And the Selection series is 5 books, but the first 3 follow America and Maxon as they go through their courtship. And it is a YA dystopian romance. I found myself really caring for America, really loving Maxon. He has such strength of character and such conviction, and he's been through so much, but still tries to stay open to love and to his responsibilities as a prince, becoming a king. And he's been through so much and still fights for a country that he loves and to try to find a woman that he loves. I found myself really rooting for him and really rooting for them as a couple, and I just thought that he was a very admirable man, which was only elaborated more as you saw him as a older husband and father in the last 2 books, even though I didn't like the last 2 books because I didn't care for following Edelyn, is that how you pronounce her name? I don't know, their daughter and her journey for the Selection. However, seeing America and Maxon in that story, even in the background of that story, was really touching. Prince Maxon, he has a special place in my heart. I love him. So number 9 is my newest favorite character, and that came from the 6 of Crows. Inej is my new favorite female kick-ass character. I am in love with Inej. She is this badass, like ninja-esque, skilled assassin, badass part of a team. She is a brave, bold, fearless woman. Absolutely love her backstory, and I love her strength when it comes to romance. I love her backbone when it comes to romance. So I won't give any spoilers and tell you who that's with or what she does, but she really stands strong for what she wants out of a relationship and out of life. And I just think that she is an absolute fierce, badass woman, and she is by far my favorite new character to follow. I can't wait to learn more about her. For the book that made me cry, I picked We Were Liars by E. Lockhart, which follows 4 kids that go to the same island every year for their summers, and they spend all their summers together, and they kind of catch up there every summer. And I think there's some family friends, I forget, I think it's 3 family members, cousins, and then 1 family friend that comes all the time. And they come back one summer and things have changed, people have grown apart, and they're trying to reconnect and find out how their relationships all fit back together again. And at first I found myself finding it hard to relate to these characters because they are definitely from a wealthy, well-to-do family, and you're kind of not really sure that you can relate or empathize with their issues because they're well off, and you know, how relatable is that really? But this was about family dynamic and about connections and relationships and how they all weave together, and I found the family parts really touching, and in the end I bawled my eyes out, guys. And I'm a crier anyway, so I would say almost all of these books made me cry at some point, but this book made me cry, like ugly cry. Number 11 is a book that made me happy, and I hope that you will forgive me, but I did pick one that's a little self-promotion-y, but it's my book. So I wrote a book and I published it in January, so that is 2016. This is called Shoot Down the Windy Bird. It's a collection of short stories and poetry, and this is flash fiction, short fiction stories that I've collected over the years. I did multiple years of online article writing for a magazine. I owned a women's magazine. The reason that this makes me happy is that after multiple years of writing very organized and structured articles for a specific niche, these stories allowed me to write creatively, and they're a collection of stories over about 5.5 years, and they definitely span my writing, I guess, growth. So not all of these are what I probably would have written today, but I didn't want to edit them out to a point where they weren't authentic to the point I was at when I wrote them. And I love them. They center around relationships, around family, around mental health, around fantasy and mystical things. So it's kind of split up into different sections with little quotes, and it's a little bit of everything that I love and am interested in. I'm so proud of it. So this is probably the book that made me cry. It's the book that I loved the most this year, but it's definitely the book that made me the happiest. I'm so absolutely thrilled to be able to call myself an author and to be able to hold in my hand writing and love and hard work, and I'm just overjoyed about this book, which is why it's front and center on my shelf when it probably should be other books that I could be talking about, but it will always be this. So I love this book, and if you're interested, it's always linked down below. Number 12 is the most beautiful book that I've bought or been given this year, and I have 3. 2 I bought and 1 I was given. So this is The Kiss of Deception, and this is by Mary E. Pearson. This is the Remnant Chronicles. This is the first book. I only got the first book, but I just think this is the most gorgeous cover. First of all, I'm obsessed with the dress and the flower crown and her hair. I'll give you a closer look. With the birds in the background, with the greenish stormy skies, with the people that are back in the background there. I just think that this is such a gorgeous cover in a world where the covers have just become a little bit ridiculous. I honestly would say again that The Six of Crows is probably one of the most beautiful books that I got this year, but second to that would definitely have to be this. I just think this is stunning. The other one I was given in an Owl Crate box, and this is Flawed by Cecilia Ahern. This book was not bad. It wasn't my favorite, but this book is just so cool. This jacket is amazing. So, oh gosh, sorry. The little like letter and book plate and stuff are falling out. I put everything from my Owl Crate in there. So first of all, the cover is gorgeous, and you take off the dust jacket and you get the full cover on the inside. And I just think that's such a cool idea. It's so different, and I haven't seen anything like that. So on the back is Celestine again, sorry. You can see the back of her on the back cover. And I just thought that was such a cool idea. So I really liked this. I thought that was very beautiful, very well done. And then next, because I'm obsessed with old books, this is Treasure Island. I found this at a thrift bookstore for like $2. So this is a 1924 print of Treasure Island, and I just love these old books. Just the look of them is so stunning, and I would have shelves and shelves and shelves of these classic vintage books if I could, but I love collecting them and picking them up when I can find them. So I was really excited to have Treasure Island, and yeah. So that's another one of mine. Question 13 is, what books do I need to read by the end of the year? And for that, I could literally point you to any of my TBR shelves, but I will specifically talk about 2 different authors. I want to read Leigh Bardugo's. I did get her, hold on one second. So spoiler alert, I do have a book haul coming up soon, but in it is Leigh Bardugo's Grisha trilogy, and I did pick up a box set from Barnes & Noble the other day when they were having a 20% off sale for members. So I picked these up. This is Shadow and Bone, Siege and Storm, and Ruin and Rising. So these are all by Leigh Bardugo. I love Six of Crows so much that I wanted to dive into this. This world is also the world that Six of Crows takes place in. It's a different storyline, but it's the same world. So I really wanted to read this and learn more about the world since I was enjoying the Six of Crows so much. Then, because there's absolutely no way around it, it's the Throne of Glass series, which you can see the bottom of right there, by Sarah J. Maas, as well as A Court of Thorns and Roses and A Court of Mist and Fury. Everything by Sarah J. Maas. Leigh Bardugo and Sarah J. Maas are the 2 authors that I really would like to dive into for the rest of this year. So now it truly is the last question of the tag, and that is my favorite booktuber in the BookTube community. And for that, I have 5 different booktubers. I am not just new to BookTube as a booktuber, I am new to BookTube as a BookTube watcher. So if you have any suggestions for booktubers that I should be watching, please do link those down below. But for now, I'll let you know the couple of people that I have been absolutely loving, and that is Reagan from Peruse Project, Lala from Books by Lala, Tilly from Tilly and Her Books, and then Sasha from A Booktopia, as well as Haley from Hale's Hearts NYC. I will link them all down below. I've really been enjoying watching them, and yeah, that is my mid-year book freakout tag. I've been really happy with my reading progress this year. Again, I just started this channel, what, 2 weeks ago, and I have 48 books read for the year, but since starting my channel, I've definitely breezed through a larger number of books than normal in the hopes of being able to review them for you guys. If you want to join in this tag, please do. I'm sure there's no rules. It's just whoever wants to do it. If you do, link your video down below. I would love to check it out. Thank you so much for watching me here at Pages and Pens. Be sure to click the thumbs up and subscribe button, and I will see you all in my next video.